It's now time for Talkin' Boxing with Billy C. It began as a podcast, went live on the net, and transformed into a full-blown empire. It's the only daily boxing talk show on the planet, hosted by the only guy with the balls to do it. Many have stepped into the ring. Many have tried to take the belt. And one by one, they've fallen. Another victim of the undisputed heavyweight champion of boxing talk radio. Talkin' Boxing with Billy C is on now.
My style is impetuous, my defense is impregnable, and I'm just ferocious. I want your heart.
Coming to you live from the Billy C Studios in Lake George, New York. I'm Bill Calogero, and it's time for the Billy C Show. It's time for the Billy C Show. Don't tell me it's going to be one of those days. Today's show is being brought to us in part by Sal's Neighborhood Pizzeria and Italian. That's because Sal's already got me all riled up. I'm ready to have a Fred Sanford heart attack here. But today's show is being brought to us in part by Sal's Neighborhood Pizzeria, an Italian restaurant located on St. Simon's Island in Georgia. Check out the website, www.salsneighborhoodpizzeria.com. I'll give my man a call, 912-268-2328. Find out why I go all the way to St. Simon's to get an authentic Italian meal. Today's show is also being brought to us in part by the Turning Stone Resort and Casino and their next boxing event, which will be an HBO broadcast event October 21st. Get yourself some tickets. Tell them Billy C sent you. And by the way, I'm going to be ringside. So make sure you drop me an email, Billy at talkinboxing, TALKINBOXING.com, and let me know where you're sitting. I'll come over and we'll chat some boxing. And also, today's show is being brought to us in part by my book, Tom Molineaux, From Bondage to Baddest Man on the Planet, is available right now where all good books are sold. And you can get a copy right now while you're watching or listening to this show by going to barnesandnoble.com or amazon.com. If you're looking to get a signed copy, just visit our website, www.billycboxing.com, and click on the book. You can't miss it. Or come on up to me at the Turning Stone on October 21st. I'll have some copies with me. And as I told you guys yesterday, a brain lapse on my part ended up with an extra box of books. I ordered twice, but that's going to help you out because, and I was told yesterday after the show, if you email me directly, okay, not through the website, not through Barnes & Noble, whatever, if you email me directly, Billy at talkinboxing, TALKINBOXING.com, and you want a signed book, as long as you're in the United States, I'll ship you one for $20. That's cheaper than you can get it anywhere else. So do that if you're interested in a book. All right. Boy, am I pissed off today, I tell you. I hate to say, first of all, yesterday's show, I was talking about Deontay Wilder, and I got all jacked up because Deontay Wilder pounds his chest. I'm the best. Everybody's scared. They got to cheat. They're all scared. They're scared to fight me, and I'm saying to myself, come on, man. Come on. Who's he beat? And I had it right out, black and white, that he hasn't fought anybody of note. And he still pounds his chest, telling everybody in the heavyweight division is scared to fight old Deontay Wilder. The bronze bomber, who's more like a firecracker, let alone a bomb. But yesterday it was made official. The WBC, all right? The WBC and Mauricio Sulaiman decided, well, let me read you their official statement from the El Presidente himself, Mauricio Sulaiman, who's in Baku right now for their thing that they do, their I'm lost for words. Like a convention. Yeah, the convention. The WBC has concluded the process according to its clean boxing program protocol in the adverse finding of Luis Ortiz. An official ruling has been sent to the corresponding parties. The WBC has withdrawn its sanction of Deontay Wilder versus Luis Ortiz, and Wilder will now fight his next mandatory fight, which is against Wilder-Stiverne. Specific details will be released at a later date. Joining me right now from St. Simon's Island in Georgia is my man, Sal Rocky Senecola. I'm sick, Sal. I'm sick. Wilder-Stiverne, Deontay Wilder. Are you kidding me? What's your thoughts?
Hey, well, he did it once. He's going to do it again. What do you this is boxing today. This is what happens, You got fighters being called out on PEDs. You got it was never like this 20, 30 years ago. And it's the tiptoe around the tulips. The tulips on a man's head, not the tulips in the ground. And I think Deontay Wilder, two lips, like to tout and like to say what he's going to do and how he's going to do it. But the bottom line is, I think that this whole thing in Wilder-Stiverne, hey, let's we got to get past it, Bill. We're going to get past it.
But here's my hang up with Deontay. Has nothing to do with Deontay Wilder, the person. It has to do with the fact that he pounds his chest and says he's the best. Now, yesterday when I broke down his record, there's no one on that record. I mean, Chris Arreola was a contender, did fight for the vacant title against the aforementioned Stiverne, but we all knew that he was there for a payday, basically quit in the ring. Gerald Washington was a former football player. I give him credit for Spitzka, that win, that's one. Johan Duhaupas, Eric Molina, both just guys that he should have dispatched a lot quicker than he did. Jason Gavin is a farce and the worst thing for the sport of boxing. Malik Scott was a fixed fight. Sergey Lukaevich was a guy that was there for the payday, as was Audley Harrison. I mean, this guy has gotten no wins on his resume that he should be pounding his chest for. And Wilder-Stiverne, let me explain some interesting facts about Wilder-Stiverne. Right now, first of all, he's 39 years old right now, 8 years older than Deontay Wilder. He's 6'2", which is 5 inches shorter than Deontay Wilder. His reach is 77 inches, which is 6 inches shorter than Wilder. All right. When he steps in the ring with Deontay Wilder in November, it'll be almost to the day 2 years since his last fight. 2 years since his last fight. 39-year-old. Remember, his last fight was Derek Rossi in November of 2015, and the fight before that was when he lost to Deontay Wilder. Now, when you look at Wilder-Stiverne's record, he's got 2 wins against Chris Arreola. That's it. That's all he's got on his resume. I mean, Wilder-Stiverne is a fraud in himself. And here's the worst part. The worst part is he's ranked number 1 by the WBC. Number 1. I mean, how do you rank a guy number 1 when he hasn't fought in 2 friggin' years? I mean, listen, I could see them saying, okay, Ortiz, you failed the test. Fine, but give him a real fighter. Give him Dillian White or even Dominic Brazil, who lost a fight recently. I would take either one of those guys. But Wilder-Stiverne, 39 years old, hasn't fought in 2 years. Come on, Sal.
I guess we'll call him the opponent. I'll tell you, it's gonna be a swan song. It's gonna be a showcase for Deontay Wilder to do whatever he wants to do, how he wants to do it, and he's going to look great doing it, and he'll stop this guy, and hey, he'll go on to the next. I know, Bill, it doesn't make sense. It is what it is. Oh, but he is fighting and defending his title against the number 1 ranked contender. Don't forget that. It's
funny you say that, because that is what they get to say. They get to say that. Well, it's just mandatory. I mean, we don't.
It's mandatory.
We don't pick who he fights.
He's obligated.
Yeah, we don't pick who he fights. I just fight the guys they put in front of me. Well, they're putting bums in front of you, Deontay, and they're making you look bad. Because if you're as half as good as you think you are, you should be fighting a real opponent. Let me tell you another thing. Inside information about Wilder-Stiverne that I know personally. He doesn't even train. This is a guy going for a payday. This is a farce. This just solidifies my opinion that Deontay Wilder, from a boxing standpoint, not as a human being, is a fraud. And yesterday I got criticized on some of our comments pages, wherever the hell they are, maybe YouTube or whatever, that he was not the worst. People are trying to even throw the race card at me, saying that, I'm just prejudiced because, he's a black guy. Give me a break. I was defending Mike Tyson, who I love. In case you haven't noticed, he's black too, So, I mean, come on. They're saying, Deontay Wilder wasn't the worst heavyweight in history. As a matter of fact, several people stated on the message boards that John Ruiz was one of the worst, or Oleg Moskayev was one of the worst. But let me just say one thing about John Ruiz real quick, all right? John Ruiz, boring fighter? Yes. Even more boring than Floyd Mayweather. I mean, this guy was boring to watch, all right? But here's an interesting stat about John Ruiz. It was something like maybe 13 of his last 16 fights were against either world champions, former world champions, or top 3 contender. In the top 3, not top 5, not top 10, top 3. They magically bring these opponents for Deontay Wilder, and all of a sudden they appear in the top 15 so that they're okay. John Ruiz was not a terrible champion. He fought former world champions in David Haye, Nikolai Valuev, Ruslan Shigaev, James Toney, Frez Oquendo was a top 3 contender. So was Galata that he fought. So was Jamal Klein. He fought Evander Holyfield not once, not twice, but
and how he got there is easily spelled out just by what you just mentioned. He hasn't really fought that would have given him much. Here we are, and we'll have and rumbles with him fighting a real. His fans win it, and right now they're still riding the career, and after he can't keep fighting the bum in the mouth.
Billy C will be right back.
Living with hair loss, losing your hair is no fun, and no one wants to be bald. But there is
happened to me. I'm happy with the way I look now.
I'm very excited about my hair.
I feel beautiful.
I love my hair.
Hair Club offers all proven hair loss solutions backed by our commitment to satisfaction guarantee. If you're not 100% satisfied with the solution you choose, hair or transplant charge.
It was the best thing I've ever done.
It looks good on me.
Call in the next 5 minutes to get your free brochure at no obligation. It will tell you everything you need to know about your hair loss problem, and it's free if you call now.
I am more pleased than what I had even imagined.
I at least look, I would say, 5 years younger.
I'm 52, and I look better now than I did when I was in my 40s.
I feel great.
And that's not all. The first 100 people who call will also receive $250 off any hair loss solution from Hair Club. Call now.
This is important news for women using birth control medications and devices. If you or a loved one have been diagnosed with a pseudotumor after using one of these birth control drugs or devices, you may be eligible for a cash award and medical expenses. Contact the law firm of Davis & Crump right now if you or a loved one have used one of these birth control medications or devices and were diagnosed with a pseudotumor to see if you are eligible for a cash award and medical expenses. Call now. Operators are standing by. by. This is important news for women using birth control medications and devices. If you or a loved one have been diagnosed with a pseudotumor after using one of these birth control drugs or devices, you may be eligible for a cash award and medical expenses. Contact the law firm of Davis & Crump right now if you or a loved one have used one of these birth control medications or devices and were diagnosed with a pseudotumor to see if you are eligible for a cash award and medical expenses. Call now. Operators are standing by.
Are you currently on Medicare? In other words, do you carry the red, white, and blue Medicare card? If so, are you suffering from chronic back pain? If you answered yes, you may be eligible for a pain-relieving back brace covered by Medicare at little to no cost, shipped directly to your home for free. These medical-grade back braces are ideal for lower back pain, arthritis, spinal disorders, and other chronic back problems. Will you qualify for a medical-grade back brace?
Call Back Brace America at 1-800-290-8300.
Check out BillyCBoxing.com now, or feel the wrath of the mighty mustache.
Oh, that hurts! Why are you doing that to my face? I hate you!
That's BillyCBoxing.com. Consider this your warning. Now back to Billy C. Interact with the show at BillyCBoxing.com.
And we're back. You're listening and watching the Billy C. Show. Glad you could be here with us. And don't forget to be there with me. Be there at the Turning Stone Resort and Casino on October 21st. Check it out. Get yourself some tickets, and I'll be there ringside. I'll be thirsty, so you can buy me a scotch or two. But anyway, I'm here with my man, Scout.
Scout?
I'm here with Scotty, man. I'm here with Scotty Senecola from St. Simon's. But anyway, I'm just really disappointed because I was looking forward to Deontay Wilder fighting Luis Ortiz, Sal. And the reason is because I want him to beat a real fighter. I really do, because then it adds more fire and interest in the potential matchup between Deontay Wilder and Anthony Joshua. Anthony Joshua is the best heavyweight in the world. Deontay Wilder can't even come close to trying to justify his record versus Anthony Joshua's. Anthony Joshua has progressively increased his level of opposition, and he dethroned the guy who many thought was the controller of the heavyweight division, despite Klitschko losing to Tyson Fury.
True. The facts are the facts. And, and I don't know when I should say this because I know it's just going to get you all riled up again. But I think Deontay Wilder is a better fighter than what his opposition has yielded in his
Wait a
record.
minute. How can you, when you say that, how do you base that? On what? I mean, you can't look at someone who has fought less, I'll just be kind and say less than stellar opposition, in despite looking good again. I mean, everybody looks good hitting a heavy bag, Sal. So how do you say that?
Alvarez looked great against Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., but that was a human puncher bag.
And what's different with Deontay Wilder fighting Johan Duhaupas and Eric Molina and guys that laid down for him like Malik Scott? I mean, how can you say that he's better than we think? I mean, I don't get it. Don't you need to perform at some point to get those accolades?
Yes, you do. You do. What I'm saying is he's been a carefully wrapped up package. And I think once he has the opportunity to fight an upper level, intense fighter, I think he's going to rise to the occasion. And I think he's going to challenge himself. And you will see a very good Deontay Wilder do his better job and rise to the occasion and show us what he's got. That's what I believe. I believe that. Believe that.
But here's the thing. You used to agree with me on this. A fighter, it's like a sports team. If you fight terrible opposition, then all of a sudden you face a good opponent. You never had a chance to get better by increasing your level of opposition. And like a team, if they played the worst team if an NFL team played the worst team in football week after week after week, the same terrible team, and they finish the season undefeated, are they really the best team? You know, and the same can be said for individual sport like boxing. You know, when you look at a guy like Deontay Wilder, you could say all you want. Oh, he's got the tools, he's got the power, he's got this, he's got that. But when he hasn't displayed it against a real opponent, how do you know he still has the tools? And then the worst part is if he loses to a guy, a substantial opponent, everybody's going to say, oh, well, he was exposed. When in a sense, it's not even Deontay Wilder's fault that he's been coddled. I truly believe, as much as people may not believe me, but I truly believe that Deontay Wilder, it's not his fault. It's that somebody else in his camp sees that he's a fraud and is trying to protect their golden goose egg. Because the truth of the matter is if if his level of opposition was increased, I think the real Deontay Wilder would have come out. I find it hard to accept that you think that, oh, he's going to show you that he's better when he fights a good opponent. I don't know. He tries very hard to knock out these subpar opposition that they give him, and he struggles.
Well, I'll just tell you another thing, Bill. Sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes a fighter fights the kind of opposition he's in with. Sometimes he doesn't look good against a lesser opponent because he doesn't rise to that occasion. He's not challenging himself, whether it's psychological or what. But there's many times where, you know, a fighter can fight a lesser than stellar opponent, and he will not look stellar in his defeating this opponent. It's one of those things. You know, that's what I'm saying. Styles make the fight. And I think Deontay Wilder does have the tools, does have the capabilities, and does have the insight and the knowledge and the strength to stretch his talents when he's going to need to. And he will need to. We will see him fight a top opposition. And that's what I'm saying. When he does do that, I think he will be pleasantly surprising to a lot of his fans. I think you'll see it better. Unlike Floyd Mayweather, I think you'll have an opportunity to see Deontay Wilder challenge himself, and I think we'll see a true display of what his talents can do. Okay. I believe that.
Okay.
I believe that.
Okay. How, Sal?
When he steps up and fights a real fighter.
When he steps up and fights a real fighter.
I want to fight a real fighter today,
when he fights a real fighter. So all of a sudden he's magically going to look great. And wait a minute.
I think he will look good. I'm not saying he'll win, but I think he'll look pretty good with Anthony Joshua.
Well, wait a minute. He looks... Okay, now just stop it right there. Have you been smoking? What have you been drinking? What's in that coffee? Did you throw some anisette in there? Come on. Is there Sambuca in that coffee? Let me see. Is that real coffee? Is it coffee? Because you're obviously on something, pal. You know, he's not going to beat Anthony Joshua. But listen, I just want to say he does look good fighting the bums that he fights. He does. And... the other thing I like about Deontay is he's exciting. He tries to make the fights exciting. He does. And I give him credit for that. He goes for the knockout, and I actually enjoy watching him fight. My hang-up with Deontay Wilder has always been the same. He pounds his chest, jumps up on the ring, screams at the audience, you know, bomb squad, you know, whatever the hell he's screaming. And he says he's the best. I'm the best in the heavyweight. Mike Tyson was garbage. I'm the best. I'm the best. I'm the best. And,
I don't like that.
He hasn't fought anybody. You know, if he knocks out a formidable foe, you give him credit. But he hasn't done it yet. He hasn't knocked. Listen, I've gone through his record 100 times. I've said it on this show. You know, show me an opponent that he's beaten that we got to give him credit for. And if you tell me Stiverne, I just showed you that Stiverne never fought. The best win on Stiverne's record is Chris Arreola. And Chris Arreola is basically a punching bag and was a punching bag when he fought Stiverne too. You know, and Stiverne doesn't even train. Stiverne is here for the payday. Stiverne has made more money not fighting Deontay Wilder or fighting Deontay Wilder than he's made in his whole career. This is a guy that has no business being in a world title fight. Stiverne, I'm talking about, has no business. And then when Deontay Wilder fights him and knocks him out again, I mean, what's that going to prove? That he beat up a 39-year-old guy who hasn't fought in 2 years? A guy that's 5 inches shorter and a half a foot arm length shorter? Come on.
Hey, I'll give you credit. That doesn't look good.
It doesn't even look a little good. Sal.
Maybe they could slip somebody in there and do a double header. Maybe he could have another opponent lined up. What was that? Was that George Foreman that did it once? Did he display he had 5 opponents lined up and he beat them all that night?
Sal, it doesn't even look a little good for Deontay Wilder to beat up Stiverne. It just doesn't. I would be more impressed. I know Dillian White is a name that's always thrown around, and Dillian White, you could be critical of him, not really fighting top guys either, but he's avoided because he's a young fighter who's a dangerous fighter. Why not fight him? They already paid Stiverne step-aside money. I would, to tell you the truth, I'd even rather see Deontay Wilder fight Dominic Breazeale than I would Bermane-Stiverne. Stiverne is there for a payday. He's got management issues. He's Don King's his promoter. All he wants to do is collect some more money. I mean, this is going to be a farce of a fight. Remember, Stiverne made all kinds of excuses after the first Deontay Wilder fight. When he basically went through the motions. Right? Like we were saying yesterday with Alex, like Bone Crusher Smith said with Tyson, did you ever want to just survive? Well, that's what Bermane-Stiverne was going to do. So what credit do we give Deontay Wilder for knocking the shit out of Bermane-Stiverne again? I mean, what credit do you give him?
Well, we'll see. Maybe Stiverne's going to rise to the occasion as well and come in and ready to fight. And we'll see. Be a different Stiverne. But he's had a 2-year rest period. That's more than 18 months than we've heard other people like to wait.
Hey, listen, 2-year rest period. I'm sure he was resting, on his ass, eating what he wants to eat, not training. It's not like he's been training hard for 2 years. This is a guy that's been loving life, collecting paydays for not fighting people. Let me tell you,
true.
This stinks. This stinks of a conspiracy with the WBC and Al Heyman, who's the advisor of Deontay Wilder. This stinks of an under the table payoff to the WBC. It stinks of that. You can't tell me. Even though Stiverne has been, avoided, so to speak, or first of all, he shouldn't have even been the number 1 ranked contender for the WBC. How do you become a number 1 ranked contender without fighting? I just don't understand it. The Derek Rossi fight was almost 2 years ago. That was his last fight after he fought Derek Rossi, after he fought Deontay Wilder. And the Derek Rossi fight, a lot of people thought Derek Rossi won that fight. So, I mean, here's a guy who hasn't fought in 2 years, basically got a gift decision against a journeyman fighter in Derek Rossi, and he's the WBC number 1 for the sanctioning body that claims their boxing and that most fighters want their belt to make this a mandatory. Listen, it stinks of a payoff. I'm sorry. It does, Sal.
It does. Bill, and I will agree with you. It does. It does not look pretty. It does not look, hey, we do the old duck analogy. Slip. If it walks, quacks, and acts, it is a duck. And look out. That's all this is. And this is a makeup, an IOU collection. That's all it is. And that's unfortunate, but that's what the fans are going to be looking at and receiving. This is the Stiverne IOU title fight. That's what it is.
Well, the big issue here is, assuming Deontay Wilder knocks out Stiverne again, and God forbid he doesn't. You talk about risk versus reward. God forbid. And this is the thing about the heavyweight division, and we talk about this all the time. At any given night, or I should say on any given night, any heavyweight, whether they never won a fight or whether they're undefeated, could knock out his opponent. And, should Stiverne knock out Deontay Wilder, oh my God, would that be... Deontay Wilder, you put him on suicide watch because that would be a joke. But assuming Deontay Wilder...
a post-fight show, what do we...
just assuming Deontay Wilder beats Stiverne again, which I can't see him not doing. How does this fight help him, and hold this thought because I'm going to take a break, how does this fight help him with a potential matchup with Anthony Joshua? I mean, I mean, how does it help him? It doesn't help him in the bargaining room, at the negotiation table, and it certainly doesn't help him in preparation for a real fighter like Anthony Joshua. This fight actually is hurting Deontay Wilder. I feel sorry that Deontay Wilder has to fight this fight. Hold that thought. We'll be back in 2.
Billy C will be right back.
If you're over the age of 50 and considering buying an annuity in the next 60 days, I have some important news for you. Don't buy an annuity until you understand the pros and cons of annuities. A free book to help you maximize your retirement income from television host and 3-time author Josh Melberg has been released. This book reveals little-known truths about annuity strategies in simple-to-understand terms. Grab a pen right now because we are about to offer you this free book that unlocks the 5 little-known secrets we believe baby boomers and seniors should know before buying an annuity. Call 800-493-9652 now, and you'll receive a free copy of Josh Melberg's book, Next Gen Annuity Strategies Revealed. As a bonus, we'll also send you the #1 mistakes retirees are making with their investments today, and a free DVD on how you can get up to 33% more income in retirement. Call 800-493-9652 to have your free information kit rushed to your door. Again, that's 800-493-9652.
Listen to this important message. If you owe money to the IRS, you will want to hear this. Penalties and interest compound daily on your back taxes, putting you under a mountain of debt. Tax 10,000 has years of experience connecting people with tax resolution specialists. Working through the IRS Fresh Start program, they will handle all the necessary forms, and if you qualify, you may end up saving thousands of dollars. Call Tax 10,000 at 800-773-4604.
Broken air conditioning, $4,400. Failing refrigerator, $2,500. Don't let outrageous repair and replacement bills like these bust your budget. Get the First American Home Warranty Plan. And when a covered appliance or system breaks, we'll repair it or replace it for you.
We had a high-end dishwasher go kaput. They put it in a brand new dishwasher.
We have plans that cover air conditioning, most appliances, plus heating, plumbing, electrical systems, and much more. Plans start as low as $25 a month. Why let a major appliance or system breakdown bust your budget or go through the hassle of finding trustworthy service people? Last year alone, we saved our customers over $120 million. Don't wait until something breaks and you're stuck with a huge bill.
You save a lot of money. It's absolutely worth it.
If you don't have First American Warranty, get it.
Call 1-800-946-6234 for your free no-obligation quote.
Snacking has never been this exciting. At Graze.com, we combine wholesome ingredients with the flavors we all love to create over 100 exciting snacks, like these. We'd love to send you a Graze sampler box for free. Just go to Graze.com, enter the code ENJOY36, and we'll mail your free box to your home or office. Join thousands of Grazers already in love with our exciting snacks. So come to Graze.com for your first box free.
Check out BillyCBoxing.com now, or feel the wrath of the mighty mustache.
Oh, that hurts! Why are you doing that to my face? I hate you.
That's BillyCBoxing.com. Consider this your warning. Now back to Billy C. Interact with the show at BillyCBoxing.com.
And we're back. You're listening and watching the Billy C Show. Don't forget, come join me and all the rest of the fight fans for the next HBO event up at Turning Stone, October 21st. Get your tickets today. Demand the Billy C discount. You know, Sal, I'm sitting here watching you eating, drinking, using the bathroom whenever you want. I mean, you got it made over there. I got to sit here, and whether I have to go to the bathroom or not, whether I'm dying of thirst, whether I'm starving, ready to pass out from sugar problems or whatever, I can't move. You're up and down. You're visiting people at the door, calling other people on the phone. I mean, it's great to be you, huh?
I'm multitasking, man. I can tell you that thing. You should get your dog who's still sleeping by your leg and put one of those St. Bernard little baskets around his neck and let him go do your errands for you.
He takes care of himself. He's selfish guy. But
hey, I got something to say, Bill. If I could say
it. That's rare. Go ahead, say something.
Let's look at it like this. All right. So Deontay Wilder is going to fight Wilder-Stiverne. And he is going to probably do what we all anticipate his outcome and what he's going to do. He's going to do what he can do to showcase and look good. And guess what? This is going to be his tune-up fight for Anthony Joshua. That's all this could be. He's going to then look for Anthony Joshua. This is his tune-up fight. This is his last real good tune-up fight, and then he's going to go to Anthony Joshua. That's what I see.
Sal.
Comment?
Sal, yeah, I got a comment. Deontay Wilder, you could make an argument.
I don't think he's looking at
You can make the argument.
I agree with that.
You can make the argument that Deontay Wilder has had 38 tune-up fights so far. I mean, how many more friggin' tune-up fights does he have to have? And let me ask you this.
Yes.
You step in the ring with a guy like Anthony Joshua, who, in my opinion, I've said it a million times, I think he's the best heavyweight on the planet right now. But not just because I think so. Look at him. I mean, the guy, he displays a great jab. He's already showed that he's got heart. He's gotten up off the canvas when we thought that he was never going to get up. He came back from being so exhausted that a mosquito land on him would have dropped him that night against Klitschko. He leaves. He takes a potential robbery scorecards, adding a mix by knocking out a guy like Klitschko. And he seemingly gets better and better and better. This is a guy that has increased his level of opposition and has come up and stepped up to the plate and succeeded at the task. He's been challenged and he's passed. He's learned things along the way in the ring while he's fighting. Deontay Wilder has never had that opportunity. And I say opportunity because it's not Deontay Wilder's fault. It's whoever's making the fights for Deontay Wilder. Whoever's making these deals behind closed doors, and they say to Deontay, let me tell you something. I would be shocked if Deontay Wilder isn't as pissed off about fighting Wilder-Stiverne as I am of him fighting him. Deontay Wilder wants to shut guys like me up. He wants to win a real fight. The powers that be aren't letting him do it. And the reason is they know that he's got some weak chinks in his armor. Nobody's worked that body. If I'm Stiverne, and now that I know I'm in this fight and I start training because I know that this guy is not too big in training, right? You better put down the cheeseburgers and start training. I work on a game plan that's going to really work the body of Deontay Wilder. He's done, for a big 6'7" guy, he doesn't weigh that much. He's a 220 pounder at best. His physique is more like a basketball player. He's got that athletic, tall, slender, athletic build. Somebody's got to work the body, get inside, and try to break him down. That's the Wilder-Stiverne's only chance. But Deontay Wilder is not gaining anything in a fight against Wilder-Stiverne that's going to help him against Anthony Joshua. First of all, giving up, getting a 5-inch height advantage and a 6-inch reach advantage is not going to help him when he steps in a ring with a guy the same size who's bigger, not height-wise, but a bigger girth and stronger and better jab. I feel sorry for Deontay Wilder when he fights AJ. I really do. I can't believe that you're actually with a straight face trying to say that he's going to give Deontay Wilder is going to give AJ a tough fight. With the exception of his knockout power, which you can't deny, Deontay Wilder's got knockout power. That's the only. And wait a minute, you're going to tell me it's freakish, power. But you're going to tell me he's got a more powerful punch than Vladimir Klitschko?
No, I'm not saying that, but I'll tell you this. I think Deontay Wilder has a decent jab. I think he's got some of the fundamentals down. I think he can hold his own with Anthony Joshua for a few rounds. And I think in that period of time, hey, we've seen Anthony Joshua get hit. And I think that he's going to have an opportunity to exchange some punches.
Let me ask you this. You say he's got a great jab, Deontay. And
I said he's got a good jab.
Good jab, whatever. Aside from
Ali had a great jab. Larry Holmes had a great jab.
All right, whatever. He's got a marginal jab. All right, he knows how to throw a jab. We'll give him that.
Effectively.
Right? Effectively. Now, the only fight that I saw him throw a jab in was against Wilder-Stiverne. Almost 3 years ago. So how is that fight? And keeping in mind he's got a 6-inch reach advantage and a 5-inch height advantage to demonstrate a jab. How is that going to help him when he's in there with a 6'7" guy with a jab and punching power and a defense that is 10 times better than anything that Deontay Wilder has faced? How's he going to employ a jab against a guy who handled Klitschko's jab, who arguably had one of the best heavyweight jabs in the business aside from Larry Holmes? How's he going to do? How's his jab going to look against AJ? Come on, Sal. I mean, you're saying that he's going to give AJ a tough fight. I just want to know how. You said by jab, okay. You saw him throw his jab effectively in one fight. So now what? Is he just going to go headhunt Anthony Joshua? You don't think he's going to get nailed on the way in? Listen, you're looking at two drastically different talent levels of these guys. It's drastic.
Radically.
It's not even subtle. It's not even subtle. It's drastic. It's drastic. And the poor guy, and I say poor guy in Wilder, is not even getting a chance to get better. He's not having the chance to get better by fighting Wilder-Stiverne. He's not, Sal. He would have had a chance to see a decent fighter, even though he was older, with a good jab and some punching power and some movement, in Luis Ortiz. Luis Ortiz was the best fight for Deontay to improve. It really was, Sal.
Hey, I agree with you, and we were all looking forward to that fight. And we would definitely have seen Deontay Wilder having that opportunity to rise to the occasion and show us what he has, maybe go deep into the fight. But it didn't happen. And so, listen, if everything we know about boxing is true, and Deontay Wilder, he pounds his chest, he feels he's the best, and you know what? No fault of his own. He's where he is because he's been guided, he's been managed, he's been able to position himself, or his camp and his team has been able to position him in where he is today. And I feel, the showcase is going to be over with this last fight. I feel that, all said and done, his next opponent will be Anthony Joshua. And they'll have a rematch clause, and they'll say, hey, this is it. The guy's either going to rise to the occasion and be who we hope he is, and let Deontay Wilder be who he thinks he is. And the worst case scenario is he loses, but he has a rematch clause. So remember, a fighter is a commodity. You ride the horse that's winning for as long as you can, and you make it happen. That's what they're looking at with Deontay Wilder.
Well, he's supposedly with a great advisor in Al Heyman. This fight against Stiverne, even assuming he wins quickly, knocks out Stiverne. Stiverne's there for a payday. He's probably making plans for after the fight already. I mean, he knocks him out, and now everybody's going to be screaming for AJ. Deontay Wilder is going to have no negotiation power against AJ. AJ is going to be like, listen, you're going to come to England, and you know what the funny thing is? The funny thing is Anthony Joshua wants to come fight in the U.S. And if I'm Anthony Joshua, I stay to hell in England because they could sell out 100,000 seats, 90,000 seats, whatever, and especially for a Deontay Wilder fight. So Deontay Wilder, by fighting Wilder-Stiverne, is hurting himself long term. He's hurting himself in the bargaining room. He's hurting himself on his resume. He's hurting himself on the way people look at him. I mean, this is a lose-lose situation for Wilder. And, oh, by the way, like we say all the time, any heavyweight can knock out another heavyweight on any given night. So Wilder loses this fight. Some freak punch lands. It knocks Wilder out. That's the end of Wilder. We'll never. I tell you right now, we'll never see him again. I mean, it's a freak thing. Listen, very bad management decisions here for Deontay Wilder. I would have, if anything, maybe what they're going to try to do if they beat Stiverne is go after Joseph Parker. That's the only way that would increase the bargaining chip for Deontay against AJ. To pick up that other belt. I don't see anything else. And oh, by the way, Joseph Parker, he's the odd man out. Joseph Parker's the guy that, who's going to fight him next? Anthony Joshua is better off fighting him in the UK and collect all the belts and tell Deontay Wilder to go take a friggin' hike. Who the hell needs Deontay Wilder? And then Deontay Wilder will pound his chest and go, he's scared of me. He's scared. Nobody's scared of Deontay Wilder, Sal.
It's a scenario almost like that mirrors the 160 pounders, the middleweights with Triple G going against Billy Joe Saunders to collect that last belt. So, we'll see. I think, like I said, Bill, I think Deontay Wilder, I'll just put it this way, is a better fighter than what we give him credit for. I'm not saying he's a world beater that's gonna give Joshua have him looking up at the lights, but I do think that he will rise to the occasion on the level of opposition that he's going to have to face. And that's the kind of fighter I think he is.
The only rise that he's going to do is the eventual rise up off the canvas, because I have faith that he'll eventually stand again, but he will be laying on that canvas, most likely, looking up at those lights, as you suggest, when and if he ever steps in the ring with Anthony Joshua. But this is terrible for the sport, terrible for the heavyweight division, and quite honestly, terrible for Deontay Wilder to not be able to fight Luis Ortiz. WBC ordering Stiverne next. Hasn't fought in 2 years. A complete joke. And I honestly question whether some powers that be at the WBC has received a little envelope with either some cash stuffed in there or some voucher to go get the cash to stuff in there. I'm sorry. And speaking,
does that happen?
Yes, it does. Yes, it does, my man.
How naive.
Speaking of the WBC, a guy who I don't think deserved any other chances with his career being Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. I mean, this guy's
definitely not. No. He's staying on the Julio.
He's got more lives in boxing than Freddy Krueger has on horror flicks.
The guy doesn't even want to fight. Get him out.
Well, he had said that he was going to be fighting former WBC super middleweight champion Anthony Durrell, but it was announced yesterday that Anthony Durrell is not fighting Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. Instead, Anthony Durrell is taking on Dennis Dugan, who's 20 wins and 5 losses. The Durrell brothers are bad for the sport. They just bring, the sucker punch from the trainer. I mean, we've heard stories. They're a problem. The whole camp is a problem. They cause issues at fights. They cause issues at weigh-ins, at commission meetings. I really wish we never had to watch a Durrell brother inside the ring again. With that said, it's a typical PBC move, and it will be televised on a PBC event on November 17th, in case anybody wants to watch that. And one other thing I wanted to mention real quick was that Sekio Bika, the Scorpion, if you will, 33 wins, 7 losses, and 3 draws with 22 knockouts, former super middleweight champion, will return to the ring. He's going to be fighting in Australia on October 22nd against a journeyman fighter, Jihad Ajatovic, for a vacant international WBC belt. When the hell was the last time Seiko Bika fought? Like, in the 90s? I mean, come on. You know what bothers me about these guys?
Yeah,
and it's not.
They take a lot of time off.
It's not the fighter because a fighter retires or stops fighting, and they wait for a financial opportunity that they can't pass up. The problem I have, and I certainly don't blame the fighters, just like I'm not blaming Deontay. I'm disappointed in Deontay Wilder because he acts like he's a badass and he doesn't have the resume to prove it. But I don't blame it on him. It's the people handling him. And what I blame this Seiko Bika return, people know the name, Sal. So the promoter, who should get more blame for not promoting anymore, recycles these names that they know, and they hope to sell tickets rather than cultivate and build up a new fighter, a young fighter. And this is where the sport gets hurt in the long run. If promoters were doing their job in promoting young fighters and creating new names, we would have a better, more competitive sport. But instead, they're lazy. They just want to make their cut. So what do? Rather than spend the money and do the, like you refer to, grassroots promotion, they grab a guy that most people have heard of and throw him on a card against the journeyman that he should beat. And then lo and behold, after he wins, he gets an immediate fast track to a world title. So it's a vicious cycle, and it's hurting the sport long term.
Yes, it is, and I agree. And like I said, it's the old grassroots promoters. Like, I'll tell you, Luke Duva was a genius. The way he used to promote all the world champions and all of us out of Ice World of Totowa. And, we took it from Ice World. We went down to Atlantic City, went to Vegas, went all over. And the same thing, you need a grassroots. We would sell tickets. We would have this. It was amazing. And we would sell out. That whole Ice World was you couldn't sit down. You had thousands of people, thousands of fans, relatives everywhere coming out to see the local fighters. And some of them that rose to the level of world-class competition became world champions. Now, I think that what you said earlier, promoters getting back to the grassroots or would like to try and cultivate that young talent, hey, if they want to latch on to a known name where they're going to sell some seats and tickets by a known guy, a commodity, then they should start showcasing and pairing those rising stars with that same champ that they were, or same contender they want to ride on the coattails. And that's the only way they're going to showcase these young developing fighters that could be a main event fighter one day, is if they have them exposed on a national level as on the undercard of these big names. And that's it. They should get the same names that they're cultivating, and that's it.
Well, the point is that a promoter should take a young fighter and build them up and develop a fan base, et cetera, and then, you end up with fighters that have a following and fighters that have, progressively improved. A real fighter, if you will. Now, I'm not suggesting Seiko Bika is not a real fighter because he's a tough guy. He's a very hard fighter to watch, a very rough and tumble style. But people have heard of him. And they can bill him as a former world champion. So people that haven't heard of him say, oh, he must be good. He's a former world champion. So it's just a lot of the blame has to be put on the shoulders of the promoters themselves and the television networks for approving these fights. And, of course, the management of the fighters. But nonetheless, more power to Seiko Bika for, getting another opportunity. I just think that it's a shame that we're forced to see the retreads over and over and over.
We are.
Well, we got a couple of emails here I wanted to get to. The first one I wanted to read real quick was the one I didn't get to yesterday from my man Mitch. He says, I just want to expound on something about Triple G and Canelo. He says the WBC clean testing program is done by VADA. However, it doesn't guarantee that you'll be tested. It does put fighters in a random pool or lottery, if you will, for VADA testing. So it's different than simple random VADA testing. It just allows VADA to select you from the pool or lottery if they choose to do so. That's what Triple G and Canelo participated in. So to say they both didn't cheat or both were clean isn't necessarily true. It depends on if their names came up in the pool. Usually the top 15 ranked guys are the names in the pool. The reason I say this is because the WBC says both fighters successfully completed the program for a given fight. Successfully completed and actually being tested are two different things. While it's a start, I hope one day we'll have year-round or at least testing from the day the fight is announced or 12 weeks before a fight takes place, whichever is longer. The key to catch those who cycle and mess their time clock up. At press conferences, I wish these so-called journalists who are scared that they'll lose their credentials would ask the fighters how many times they were actually tested. There's a great email from Mitch, who brings to light the procedure of that. And, they did announce that both Canelo and Triple G completed their process, and that was the exact choice of words that they used. So my man Mitch could be onto something. The WBC also wanted to announce. See, this is where the WBC really looks foolish at times. They were the ones that said, hey, by the way, we've ordered the Triple G Canelo rematch. We already knew that was going to happen. Both fighters said they wanted it. They were even picked the Cinco de Mayo date in May to have it. Triple G accepted it. Canelo accepted it. The contract was already basically written the first time they had the rematch thing. So the WBC, whether they cared about whether the two fighters cared whether WBC ordered it or not, it didn't matter. They were going to fight each other. Here's a case where the fighters don't need the belts and the belts need the fighters. And this is very obvious when the WBC puts it like that. Oh, we're ordering the fight. If they didn't, and they said, well, we're not ordering a fight. We're taking our champion, who's Triple G. We're going to make him fight Joe Schmo. And Triple G could say, hey, screw you. I'm fighting Canelo for another multi-million-dollar purse. Here's your belt back. So the sanctioning body doesn't want to do that because they gain by having big names as their champions. I mean, it's pretty cut and dry, Sal.
It is cut and dry, and that's why I said boxing is a business. At first, it's a business, and we have the rankings for a reason. We have the world champions for a reason, and fighters are the commodities that the promoters, the managers, the trainers usually want to ride and stay on the same horse if they keep winning and keep them up there with the money where the money is.
Hey, the other day I was in the bar and a horse came in. Well, he didn't say that. I just looked at him and I said, hey, why the long face? Hey, listen, we're going to take a short break when we geez, Wilbur. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, I get a couple more emails. So don't go nowhere.
Billy C will be right back. Part of the Billy C Boxing Network.
Broken air conditioning, $4,400. Failing refrigerator, $2,500. Don't let outrageous repair and replacement bills like these bust your budget. Get the First American Home Warranty Plan. And when a covered appliance or system breaks, we'll repair it or replace it for you.
We had a high-end dishwasher go kaput. They put it in a brand new dishwasher.
We have plans that cover air conditioning, most appliances, plus heating, plumbing, electrical systems, and much more. Plans start as low as $25 a month. Why let a major appliance or system breakdown bust your budget or go through the hassle of finding trustworthy service people? Last year alone, we saved our customers over $120 million. Don't wait until something breaks and you're stuck with a huge bill.
You save a lot of money. It's absolutely worth it.
If you don't have First American Warranty, get it.
Call 1-800-946-6234 for your free no-obligation quote.
Stop living with hair loss, that is. Losing your hair is no fun and no one wants to be bald, but there is hope.
Getting my hair back was the best thing that ever happened to me. I'm happy with the way I look now.
I'm very excited about my hair.
I feel beautiful.
I love my hair.
Hair Club offers all proven hair loss solutions backed by our commitment to satisfaction guarantee. If you're not 100% satisfied with the solution you choose, Hair Club will apply the purchase price to another proven hair loss solution or transplant more hair at no charge.
That was the best thing I've ever done.
It looks good on me.
Call in the next 5 minutes to get your free brochure at no obligation. It will tell you everything you need to know about your hair loss problem, and it's free if you call now.
I am more pleased than what I had even imagined.
I at least look, I would say, 5 years younger.
I'm 52, and I look better now than I did when I was in my 40s.
I feel great.
And that's not all. The first 100 people who call will also receive $250 off any hair loss solution from Hair Club. Call now.
If you're over the age of 50 and considering buying an annuity in the next 60 days, I have some important news for you. Don't buy an annuity until you understand the pros and cons of annuities. A free book to help you maximize your retirement income from television host and three-time author Josh Melberg has been released. This book reveals little-known truths about annuity strategies in simple-to-understand terms. Grab a pen right now because we are about to offer you this free book that unlocks the 5 little-known secrets we believe baby boomers and seniors should know before buying an annuity. Call 800-493-9652 now, and you'll receive a free copy of Josh Melberg's book, Next Gen Annuity Strategies Revealed. As a bonus, we'll also send you the #1 mistakes retirees are making with their investments today, and a free DVD on how you can get up to 33% more income in retirement. Call 800-493-9652 to have your free information kit rushed to your door. Again, that's 800-493-9652.
Are you currently on Medicare? In other words, do you carry the red, white, and blue Medicare card? If so, are you suffering from chronic back pain? If you answered yes, you may be eligible for a pain-relieving back brace covered by Medicare at little to no cost, shipped directly to your home for free. These medical-grade back braces are ideal for lower back pain, arthritis, spinal disorders, and other chronic back problems. Will you qualify for a medical-grade back brace?
Call Back Brace America at 1-800-290-8300.
Check out BillyCBoxing.com now, or feel the wrath of the mighty mustache.
Oh, that hurts! Why are you doing that to my face? I hate you!
That's BillyCBoxing.com. Consider this your warning. Now back to Billy C. Interact with the show at BillyCBoxing.com.
And we're back. You're listening to the Billy C. Show. Glad you could be with us. And I'm here with my man Sal Rocky Senecola. And Sal, you must be stuffed. I see you eating like a pig over there. I mean, geez. You feel good, huh?
Great breakfast, I'll tell you. I was baking and cooking, and man, I'll tell you, it's great.
You're ready to take a nap after the show. It's like Thanksgiving over there, you know? I mean, come on, man. You know,
I gotta go and work for 12 hours.
Hey, oh yeah, like I don't. Give 14. Me a break.
We'll be there till 12 o'clock tonight.
Give me a break. I wake up at 4 o'clock. I write this show. It's never.
Hey, it's what we do. It's no.
Yeah, but you make money.
I love it. I do what I love.
At least you make money at the restaurant. You know, I'm still, I'm happy if I can, roll of pennies. But anyway, another email. This is from my man Jesse. He says, "Hey, Billy C and Sal, I agree with Larry. Wilder and Mike are not boxers, but they have punch. And he's talking about Mike Tyson. Mike had better combinations and body movement to make his power and combinations deceptive. Now that Wilder will fight Stiverne, he won't prove anything again in this fight." No doubt about that. As a matter of fact, I think it's going to hurt Wilder. I say this all the time. It's not giving Deontay a chance to get better. You don't get better just hitting a heavy bag. You don't. You need to fight different style fighters. Stiverne is going to bring him anything he hasn't seen before. As a matter of fact, he's going to go after Bermain Stiverne a lot quicker than he did in the first fight. The first fight, he was very content outboxing him. Now he's going to try to show that Stiverne doesn't belong in the same ring with Deontay Wilder, and quite honestly, he doesn't. So I agree with that. He says, even though Jarrell Miller, and this is another guy. This is another guy that, his biggest fight to date so far is against Washington. And, Jarrell Miller is a big mouth, roly-poly, fat heavyweight that wouldn't stand a chance with any real fighter. I mean, they're just positioning him to be another sacrificial lamb for Deontay. But anyway, he says, even though Jarrell Miller can't box, he knows his fighters, though. Maybe he would be better off on TV. An interview he does says that Wilder's overrated, and he's been coddled, and analyzes other boxers pretty well, but he can't carry that over in a fight. He has his own flaws that he hasn't fixed yet. Who the hell is he to be critical of Deontay Wilder and other fighters when he hasn't fought anybody of note himself? You know, this is a guy just trying to use his mouth to get a fight. And David Haye was successful. You see, they all, you know what bothers me, Sal? Muhammad Ali was one of the first guys, and he wasn't the first one to talk smack, but he was one of the first guys to use the media really to his advantage by talking a lot of smack and doing some outrageous things along those lines. But the big difference between Ali and his smack talk, and definitely David Haye was a fraud. I mean, he was just a joke. And Jarrell Miller, these guys that talk smack, they're not backing up what they're saying. Muhammad Ali did. Muhammad Ali would talk smack, and then, sure enough, he would do what he said he was going to do. These guys, you know, when David Haye said, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, oh, wait till I get in the ring with Klitschko, oh, I'm going to do this, and all he does is run like a scared little bitch. Then he has the balls to put his little hurt pinky toe up on the podium to try to get people to believe what he's crying about. I mean, that's a joke. It kind of ruins it. And I can't believe that fans actually fall for that shit today. I can't believe it that they still fall for that hype. I just can't believe that somebody would watch a press conference or you know, see these guys talking smack and go, you know what? I wasn't going to buy a ticket, but now I am. What's your thoughts?
Well, that's what happened. They're loyal to their fighters. They really are, and they'll make excuses for them. They'll follow them. They'll buy them. They'll spend money for them, and that's part of the commitment fans have with their personal favorites. And do fighters take advantage of it sometimes? Maybe they push the envelope here and there, but you know, fighters have become showmen in a sense too today. They've used like we've seen with the MMA. We've used what they've seen in WWF wrestling. You know, they see that, hey, we got to be controversial. We got to do this, and sometimes, you know, it works. Sometimes. You know, that's just it. Where the promoters have not been the ones to promote and showcase and do things properly like they used to do for fighters getting known and throughout the world and get the notoriety, get the fame, get everything else about them, get the support around them. Fighters have tried to do that for themselves too, and you know, it's like I said, it's a different era of boxing. That's all. Good, bad, or indifferent. It's different. Good, bad, or indifferent. Yeah, that's it.
Wasn't that my movie? Oh, no. My movie was Good, Bad, and the Ugly. I'm sorry.
Easy.
But anyway, Jesse goes on to say, hey, Billy, since you don't like Jim and Max and Roy Jones Jr., who out there do you think should be on HBO or on the boxing TV events? Do you ever watch Juan Manuel Marquez on ESPN Deportes? He analyzes boxers and fights good. I would like to see him on HBO, but his English isn't there. TV like HBO doesn't analyze fighters and fights well. They just show the big punches in slow-mo. That persuades the viewers in the right way. I like Juan Manuel Marquez. It's not Juan Manuel Marquez. It's it's the other Marquez. Anyway, I like Marquez. He does a really good job. I mean, there are some good. Listen, Al Bernstein is the best, I think, guy out there. You know, BJ Flores, as much as I can't stand him as a fighter, I think he's a really good commentator. I also think that, you know, believe it or not, Barry Tompkins and Steve Farhood from Showtime, they get the lesser shows on Showtime, like the Showbox and stuff. I like those guys. You know, the thing, I listen, the guys I can't stand, the guys that I just can't stomach anymore, definitely Mario Ranallo is in my opinion, the worst commentator the sport has ever seen. And he must be sucking somebody's you-know-what to be still on the network because he's terrible. Paulie Malignaggi is good.
It's good.
But the way he delivers, it just gets very annoying. It's like listening to Fran Drescher, the nanny, and halfway through,
you know what? You got a point there.
I know.
But I like Paulie Malignaggi. But you're right. You're right. There's something about that delivery.
I know. You know what's funny? Some of these guys that are really
like grating.
Yeah, it's like fingers, nails on a chalkboard. But it's like some of these guys that are really good commentators, a la Paulie Malignaggi, BJ Flores, when they start referring to their own careers, that's what bothers me because, yes, Paulie Malignaggi was successful, but it wasn't all that. Roy Jones Jr. obviously was successful in his younger days as a fighter, but it is so sickening to listen to him refer to himself in the third person all the time, not just sometimes, all the time. As far as Jim Lampley's concerned, he used to be a really good commentator for boxing. I feel he's lost his ability to call a fight without punch stats, which is subjective. So, Max Kellerman, I don't know what to think of him. Sometimes I just think he's a corporate guy and he does whatever the teleprompter is telling him to say. So I don't know, man. I think we need some new blood, man. We need me and Sal. We need us. Yeah, that's what we need. But I don't know, man. I don't know. It's a tough one, But I definitely I do like Marquez. He's good. There's no good. And it's Raul, isn't it? Raul Marquez. It's Raul Marquez, not Juan Manuel. But anyway. Thanks for the email, Jesse. This last one's from my man, Willie, who's actually in the chat room right now. And by the way, if you're watching or listening, no matter where you are, if you want us to refer to your comments, you got to come on over to the BillyCBoxing.com chat room. That's where we include your thoughts and questions and stuff like that. But anyway, Willie says, hey Billy, look here. And he sent me a link to Tyson Fury going to the celebrity jungle after he says he won't renew his boxing license. I had heard that he was getting a hard time renewing his license. But anyway, Willie says, what a fool of a man Tyson Fury's turned out to be. I'm not going to bother wondering and hoping that he's going to come back anymore. This is how far. That's it now, as far as I'm concerned. What a waste. Look at the fat on him in the picture and the videos. He's got this huge tire of fat around him. Even his back is fat. How the hell hasn't he had a heart attack already? Is a wonder. I'm sure he's heading for one. He's never coming back. I'm a celebrity indeed, more like a complete idiot. He says he'll run out of money one day soon, and then he'll be the king of nothing. He's let everybody down, not just himself. He gave the gypsy community something to be proud of, and now he's taken that away. Surely they won't regard him as a king of the gypsies much longer. I can feel Willie's pain. I was a big Tyson Fury fan, I got to admit. We had a guy that was involved with this show who turned me on to Tyson Fury years and years ago. I actually have seen every fight Tyson Fury has been in since his third professional fight. And, I watched him rise up, and I thought that he had some potential. Once he learned how to throw a jab correctly, because he had a tendency to throw his jab from below his waist and kind of up until he learned how to throw his jab the right way. He had potential. Plus, he was big. I always thought that he didn't pack the punch that a guy his size should have. But you know what? It is what it is. He got rich and fat. He's pissing his money away. But I'm sure they're paying him to be on this celeb jungle. And the thing is people like him and David Hay and anyone else that stays in the limelight and people still give them the time of day, well, they're successful. They're still making some money somehow. Tyson Fury has acted like he's not all there anymore mentally. So, the BBBC is reluctant of giving him his license back. So now he's making it sound like, It's him that doesn't want his license back. So I don't know, man. What do you think, Sal?
When Tyson Fury left the reservation, if you will, and displayed a lifestyle and comments and actions that were less than stellar of somebody that was a former world heavyweight champion, I really, like I said, once you're on my do not tamper with list, I'm no longer a fan. And I think he is probably better off staying retired and doing what he can do in the boxing world to still make a living. I can't discredit him for that and trying to do that. But, when you are a disciplined fighter and you know what it takes to be the best and to go out there, and then you let it all go and you let your fans down, you let your whole base down, and then you still want to cry you're the best and you could come back and do that. Well, let your actions speak for yourself and for your words and do it. Either do it or don't. And if you're not going to, then, hey, don't say anything about it. Just do it. And I think he's better off out of the game.
Well, you know what? There's one thing that he'll always have, and that's that he walked away undefeated.
Yeah,
as a champion,
he did,
and that's hard to do in the sport of boxing. It's hard to walk away and stay away. I go through this with my man Dax all the time. When Dax and I first met, it was actually at a fight that I cheered like a schoolgirl at. When you're not supposed to in press row. But Dax and I met, and we started talking, and Dax lays on me that he feels Lennox Lewis is a top 10 all-time great heavyweight. We almost went to blows that day. And, he always kids me about that to this day, and I bust his chops about it as well. As a matter of fact, I actually sent him a poster of Tyson Lennox Lewis, which he sometimes you can see in the background of his set. But the truth of the matter is over time, I have not fully agreed. So before Dax gets all happy and throws a party, I don't fully agree with Dax. But my respect level has risen significantly for Lennox Lewis, and the reason why is because he too retired. I mean, he wasn't unbeaten, but he too retired as a champion on his terms. And every fight that he did lose, he had, came back and won the rematch. So he avenged every loss. And he stayed away. And the other thing about Lennox Lewis that I respect is that the guy knows his game. And as a matter of fact, he's a good commentator to have on ringside too, by the way. He knows the game. He's respected in the world of boxing, and he didn't piss his money away. So, when I've always said, when a fighter ends his career, when he walks away from the sport for good, it does take you 5 years, just the way the Hall of Fame makes a fighter wait. It does take you 5 years to digest their career and put it in perspective to see where they really sit. From an all-time perspective. And I feel Lennox Lewis is up there. Lennox Lewis has done all the right things since he retired. And when I go back and look at it with a more open mind than I used to, he's done a lot of significant things in the ring, too. So he's another good example. And I'm not suggesting that Tyson Fury had the success that Lennox Lewis had, because he didn't. But the one thing that he'll always have is that he walked away as a champion, undefeated, on his terms. Whether they were, sane terms or not, who knows? But it's something that I think is valuable, Sal.
I think it's very valuable. And, Bill, you and I have shared, we kind of like and dislike a lot of the same fighters for different reasons. And you know what? I will tell you this. When he was fighting, I wasn't really a big Lennox Lewis fan. I wasn't a big Larry Holmes fan. Even though I got a chance to meet Larry many times through Richie Giacchetti and go to the Commodore Hotel and train in his backyard and fight on the cards with his younger brother, Mark Holmes. But when they retired, I really learned how to appreciate where they were coming from and what good they actually were. And that's how I feel about Larry Holmes. I think I think I had a hard time with Larry because he was always crying that he was in the shadow of Muhammad Ali. And, again, that's something that people would recognize. You don't have to say it every time you're going to step in a ring. But Larry Holmes is a great fighter, He's gotten up off the canvas. He's fought the top opposition. Larry Holmes is a champion, and I could appreciate him for everything he's done in the world of boxing. And the same thing with Lennox Lewis, for a lot of reasons you just stated too. When he was active, I didn't have as much appreciation or even desire to follow him as much. But I'll tell you what, as he's been out of the game now, and you see what all the accomplishments and what he did in the ring, I have a lot of respect for him, and I am a fan of his as well.
Yeah, I mean, you got to give him credit. Now,
Absolutely.
Now Dax is in the chat room telling all these stories, I mean,
let it out, Dax. Let it out, man.
But anyway, it is true. But I think that Lennox Lewis, listen. All kidding aside, Lennox Lewis, if you want to give him credit for anything, or if you don't want to give him credit for anything, there's one thing I think everyone that's a boxing fan has to agree. Lennox Lewis changed the complexion of the heavyweight division today. Lennox Lewis was really the first 245 plus, 6'5" plus heavyweight that was chiseled, that had hand speed, punching power, athleticism. He had all of that, and he changed the complexion of the heavyweight division. Had we seen big guys in the past? Yeah, we had, but not to the degree Lennox Lewis brought. And since Lennox Lewis, we've seen several others, and now we look at the heavyweight division as complete monsters. When you see a guy that's 6'4", and he weighs 230, 240 pounds, and you say, oh, God, he's little for a heavyweight. I mean, listen, Sal, that says it all. I mean, when I'm looking at Chris Arreola stepping in the ring and he's only 6'4", you say to yourself, holy shit, what's happened to the heavyweight division considering 30 years ago? Muhammad Ali was a big heavyweight, was a monster. 6'3",
220.
But that's what I'm saying. He was considered a monster. Jack Johnson in the early 1900s was considered a monster of heavyweights, and he was 6 foot. He was under 6'1".
I thought Jack Johnson, the way they talk about him, was 7 feet tall.
I know. So I mean, and he was 6 foot. And Mike Tyson never weighed more than in his prime. His prime weight was 212 pounds. Jess Willard was big.
How big was Jess Willard?
I think he was 6'7", 6'6".
That's big.
Primo Carnera. Primo Carnera was a big guy, over 6'6". But these guys didn't have the athleticism that Lennox Lewis had. I mean, look at the heavyweights. Jack Dempsey, one of my favorites. Never weighed more than 185 pounds. Rocky Marciano, never more than 188 pounds.
5'10", Rocky Marciano.
Joe Langford,
Lewis, 185, 190 pounds.
Sam Langford started out as a lightweight, was regarded as one of the best heavyweights of all time, was looked like a beer barrel in there. That was his physique, and was knocking guys out. Like you said, Muhammad Ali was, 6'2", 6'3"? Yeah.
6'3", 220 pounds when he was in his prime.
Yeah, and he was considered a monster. My man Sonny Liston, one of my favorite fighters of all time, 6'1".
Are you kidding me? Sonny Liston, I thought was about 6'6", 6'5".
He's 6'1".
I mean, that's what I'm saying. These guys growing up and hearing the legendary stories and how big they were. Like I said, Jack Johnson, I can't believe you told me. And Sonny Liston, I thought he was like a monster.
I know. Well, the way they talk about Jack Johnson is, when you read stuff on Jack Johnson, I mean, like you said, you get this picture in your head that he was larger than life. But the thing about Jack Johnson is Jack Johnson was such a great fighter, and unfortunately for today's youths, they judge Jack Johnson. You see, today's youth only wants to give credit where they can watch a fight on film. They don't buy into the the writers and all of the stuff that was said. You got 1,000 ringside reports all saying how great he was, and they don't believe it because they can't watch the video. And so you have these old-time fighters that are not getting the respect they deserve because they came and fought during an era before technology could chronological or whatever record, not chronological, but record. Porky Pig. I went to Porky Pig's English class. Yeah, but before technology could record the history. And when you do watch the limited footage of Jack Johnson out there, you don't get really the feel of how good he was, because remember, these were one camera shots, no lighting. The guy was cranking the damn thing to get the film speed. You don't see his hand speed. He was a defensive fighter. He didn't engage as much as fighters of his era did, but they couldn't hit him, and he was extremely powerful. Jack Johnson, definitely, Sal, one of the greatest heavyweights of all time. And on my all-time great heavyweight list, he's number one. I mean, I don't even have my list here, but I'm sure he's number one or number two. I mean, Joe Louis, Ali, him, Rocky Marciano. I mean, those guys are all tops, all-time great.
Well, you got definitely a top five that you could probably easily mention. And it's a shame because what you said is so true. I only saw one little cranker of an 8mm film of Jack Johnson, and I didn't see anything really special that he did in that little cranked 8mm film reel that I saw. It didn't give me the impression that, wow, this guy was the world beater he was. But he was. And I'm sure it had a lot to do with the particular fight I had the opportunity to see, as well as the lack of quality with the film.
Yeah, well, my point is that realistically, prior to like the late 70s, you could even say 1980, the footage, even great fighters like Sugar Ray Robinson, there is no known footage of Sugar Ray Robinson as a welterweight, and all the writers of the time said he was the best they ever seen. And Jack Johnson, in cases where these guys came prior to the film technology advancements that today we see high definition. I mean, you sit in front of a big screen TV and you feel like you're in the third row. And you can watch that on YouTube, for God's sakes. But you have to have an open mind and try to read as many ringside accounts of these all-time greats as you can, and then make a judgment. Don't try to go by just watching footage. I mean, you know what puts it in perspective, Sal? When I wrote my book about Tom Molyneux, who was a freed slave. He was born a slave. Got screwed because of the color of his skin. Fought in the first world title in 1810. And I have a listener one day when I was talking about the book before it was released, and he says, "Oh, I want to know more about Tom Molyneux. Can you send me any YouTube clips of him?" YouTube clips. As a matter of fact, I put him in the acknowledgments. This is the mindset of the youths. The Utes, as was said in the film. But the funny thing is, YouTube. I mean, they can't even understand that cameras weren't even invented yet. Or they weren't being used on a regular basis. You had to stand still for 2 minutes and had a little explosion for light, and the whole nine. I mean,
and he chiseled them on the cave wall. Figures like that of fighting.
That was when you were a kid. But I mean, I don't know. Anyway, hey, listen, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we got a couple other things to talk about. You're just going to have to wait until we come back, because we'll be back in 2.
Billy C will be right back. Part of the Billy C Boxing Network.
Snacking has never been this exciting. At Graze.com, we combine wholesome ingredients with the flavors we all love to create over 100 exciting snacks. Like these. We'd love to send you a Graze sampler box for free. Just go to Graze.com, enter the code ENJOY36, and we'll mail your free box to your home or office. Join thousands of grazers already in love with our exciting snacks. So come to Graze.com for your first box free.
Broken air conditioning, $4,400. Failing refrigerator, $2,500. Don't let outrageous repair and replacement bills like these bust your budget. Get the First American Home Warranty Plan. And when a covered appliance or system breaks, we'll repair it or replace it for you.
We had a high-end dishwasher go kaput. They put it in a brand new dishwasher.
We have plans that cover air conditioning, most appliances, plus heating, plumbing, electrical systems, and much more. Plans start as low as $25 a month. Why let a major appliance or system breakdown bust your budget or go through the hassle of finding trustworthy service people? Last year alone, we saved our customers over $120 million. Don't wait until something breaks and you're stuck with a huge bill.
You save a lot of money. It's absolutely worth it.
If you don't have First American Warranty, get it.
Call 1-800-946-6234 for your free no-obligation quote.
If you're over the age of 50 and considering buying an annuity in the next 60 days, I have some important news for you. Don't buy an annuity until you understand the pros and cons of annuities. A free book to help you maximize your retirement income from television host and three-time author Josh Melberg has been released. This book reveals little-known truths about annuity strategies in simple-to-understand terms. Grab a pen right now because we are about to offer you this free book that unlocks the 5 little-known secrets we believe baby boomers and seniors should know before buying an annuity. Call 800-493-9652 now, and you'll receive a free copy of Josh Melberg's book, Next Gen Annuity Strategies Revealed. As a bonus, we'll also send you the #1 mistakes retirees are making with their investments today, and a free DVD on how you can get up to 33% more income in retirement. Call 800-493-9652 to have your free information kit rushed to your door. Again, that's 800-493-9652.
Endless pools are an incredible alternative to traditional pools, making it easy and inexpensive to swim at home. Exercise year-round against a smooth current set to your desired pace and temperature. With our new underwater treadmill, you can walk or run without stressing your joints. Endless pools are simple to install and even simpler to maintain. The water stays crystal clear with almost no chlorine. Call for your free idea kit and experience the freedom of swimming at home.
Check out BillyCBoxing.com now, or feel the wrath of the mighty mustache.
Oh, that hurts! Why are you doing that to my face? I hate you.
That's BillyCBoxing.com. Consider this your warning. Now back to Billy C. Interact with the show at BillyCBoxing.com.
And we're back. You're watching and listening to the Billy C. Show. Glad you could be with us. And don't forget, October 21st, I'm going to be at the Turning Stone Resort and Casino for the HBO boxing event. So make sure you get some tickets today. Or visit the turningstone.com, Turning Stone Casino's box office. Get yourself some tickets. Demand the Billy C. discount. I'm here with my man Sal Rocky Senecola. And just final thoughts on the issue with the WBC, Sal. I think that the WBC, in ruling that the Luis Ortiz fight will not happen, is not good for Deontay Wilder. I believe Deontay Wilder needed to fight and beat Luis Ortiz, not only to show that he's the real deal, but also to strengthen his bargaining power over an eventual showdown with Anthony Joshua. I think that it seems pretty obvious to me that there was some underhanded suspicious activities that went on for the WBC to pick Wilder-Stiverne. This is not going to be a challenge for Deontay Wilder. Stiverne is 8 years older at 39 years old, 5 inches shorter, and he's got a foot shorter arm reach. Plus, the old man hasn't fought in 2 years. This is not going to be a challenge, and he's known to not even work hard in training. So this is not going to be a good fight for Deontay Wilder, and unless he blows out Stiverne in one round, he's going to be criticized. What do you think?
I think you're right too, and it is what it is. It's the game of boxing. Just ask Adeline Bird. No, I'm teasing. And sometimes we see things that we don't understand or we don't want to understand because it doesn't make sense. And this is one of those occasions, and we're going to have to sit back, ride it out, and see what happens. Like I said, maybe this is his last swan song to dance to before he does step in the ring, and we can see what he could do against Anthony Joshua. That would be a great opportunity for him. So, like I said, and that would be probably in the first quarter or by June of next year. So if they could do that, and this is going to be one of those fights that's going to validate that, like putting the cart ahead of the horse, then, we're going to have to sit back and just go through the motion and see what happens here.
Yeah, well, it seems to me that Team Wilder, at least everyone but Deontay, is looking to cash out. They're going to make a few bucks with Stiverne, then demand big money for AJ, and then keep their fingers crossed, I guess. But
well, yeah, and I think they would also not have that difficult of a time relinquishing some of the so-called demands if they get a good payday with the Anthony Joshua fight. Number one, both these guys seldom have fought outside their backyard, whether you call it Brooklyn or whether you call it London, or England. But I think that Las Vegas would be a great opportunity to bring Anthony Joshua here. And,
forget Las Vegas. Every time we see fights in Las Vegas, we get the sacrificial, paid off judges, the three blind mice. Well, I forget.
Wait! I got a new saying. What? Las Vegas is for the birds.
Adelie and Robert. That's
it.
Well, I don't want to say no. Hey, listen. In lieu of the tragedy that took place in Vegas, I don't want anybody to get it mixed up. Obviously, we're just referring to the. Wait, Bill.
Did I make a foul comment?
we just want everyone to know that our prayers, thoughts, and condolences go out to all of the victims of the Vegas shootings. But as far as the Las Vegas,
that's for sure.
As far as
I didn't mean that. I meant
I know. But as far as the Nevada State Athletic Commission and that gutless, spineless piece of garbage known as Bob Bennett, we can't stand you. But anyway, hey, don't forget, starting next week, we're going to be doing the trivia questions again. So start brushing up on your boxing knowledge. I have a bunch of Title Bout Championship computer games that I want to give away. So. But first, you got to get the questions right. But anyway, on this day, October 5th, first and foremost, I'd like to wish my sister a happy birthday today. It's her birthday today, and I want to wish Nancy a happy birthday. But anyway, on this day, October 5th, in 1985, Hilario Zapata wins a 15-round decision over Alonzo Gonzalez to win the vacant WBA flyweight title. It took place in Panama City. On this day in 1952, one of my favorite fighters, and I have a pair of his trunks right here. I got Joe Frazier and Kid Gavilan, and on this day in 1952, Kid Gavilan wins a 15-round decision over Billy Graham to retain his world welterweight title. It took place in Cuba. On this day in 1974, one of the greatest middleweights of all time, Carlos Monzon, knocks out Tony Mundine in the 7th round to retain his world heavyweight title, middleweight title, and that took place in Argentina. This day in 1991, Pernell Sweet Pea Whitaker wins a 12-round decision over Jorge Paez to retain his WBC, WBA, and IBF World Lightweight titles. That took place in Reno. It's safe to say that Sweet Pea had all the belts. On this day in 1936, Jimmy McLarnin beats Tony Canzanari to a pulp, beats him to a pulp en route to a 10-round decision in their welterweight fight that took place at Madison Square Garden in New York City. McLarnin improves to 54 wins, 11 losses, and 3 draws, while Tony Canzanari drops to 118 wins 18 losses and 8 draws. McLaren would fight once more a 10-round decision win over another one of my favorite fighters, and incidentally, Rocky Marciano's idol, Lou Ambers, on November 20th in 1936. Ambers dropped his record at that fight to 60 wins, 4 losses, and 5 draws. And McLaren closed out his Hall of Fame career, 55 wins, 11 losses, and 3 draws. That's what took place on this day in 1936. Hey, man, that concludes our show for today. Make sure you tune in tomorrow because we're going to have a busy show scheduled for you to close out the week. So make sure you tune in tomorrow morning. Same bat time, same bat channel. Until then, ciao, baby.